Hey everybody, this is your captain speaking, and we are live here on YouTube. Um, just going to hang out a little while before I kind of dive in here, let people arrive, and yeah, just flowing here this morning. San Francisco, I think it's still morning. Sorry, I'm running a little late. Anybody that's been waiting, just gonna see who's out there. Anybody want to say hello in the chat? The intention for today is to talk about this amazing alignment that is happening this week. I've been talking about it all year, and I've been looking forward to it all year, and I've been kind of tuning into its potential all year, and here it is. We're talking about a moon, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune quadruple conjunction, all within 4 degrees, and it's happening Wednesday morning, at least from the California time zone perspective. Depends on where you are in the world. But basically, here in North America, we're talking about Wednesday morning. You want to get up early. I'm telling you, you're not going to get a chance to see this astronomical event, a Moon, Jupiter, Venus triple conjunction, this precise, for a while. But in terms of it being a Moon, Jupiter, Venus, Neptune quadruple conjunction, all in the sign Pisces, this is really special, and I've been talking about it all year as being the kind of alignment, it is the actual alignment that only happens well, it's not happening again for the rest of the century. I looked at future Jupiter-Neptune conjunctions. They happen every 13 years. There's not that many of them in a century, and I looked at them, and there's not another one of these happening this precise. Like, this is 4 degrees, but even within 10 degrees, there's one that's like 10, 11 degrees. There's one other one that's a little closer, but Saturn's involved, which is very different. And so I'm talking about something very rare, very special, extremely beautiful to go out and look at, and even more beautiful to tune into on the interior plane, you know? And this one's all about opening your heart. It's all about going into a love zone, heart chakra zone, that yummy zone where, yeah, you just feel more love, more grace, more forgiveness, more peace. Yeah, this is a peaceful alignment. It is an opportunity for peace, both within ourselves, but also interpersonally. And so I think this is a moment for all of us to kind of enter into a spirit of forgiveness, to tune into what is forgiveness and how do you forgive. Um, that's what's coming up for me right today. I don't know if you've had that experience, and I think it's an experience of grace, which is another part of this energy. It's like, what is it when you're blessed by grace? Like, there's some kind of grace that happens in your life that has meaning and emotion and poignancy. This is the kind of alignment where for me, it's always been just a feeling of something outside of myself that flows through me and opens my heart, and I just find myself forgiving. And often it's in spite of myself. And so I'm sure a lot of you have had that experience of, yeah, your heart opens and you start to just see things from a different perspective, one that's filled with love. And the fact that Jupiter is involved this week with Venus, they are the alignment of big love, big heartedness. Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, kind of represents that quality of mass scale. And Venus, her beauty, for me, Venus is comforting. When I get to see her regularly, there's something really comforting, and I just feel like she's my friend and my love, my beloved friend. And so, yeah, Venus has that quality of a beloved friend or lover. And you combine that with the massive scale of Jupiter, and it just brings experiences where you just feel more loving. And you know what that feels like. It just feels good. It feels good when you're a channel of a big love force. And I think that's what's happening right now. It's like a big love force that is sweeping through the solar system in this very rare alignment, which, by the way, the fact that it's in Pisces adds a whole other dimension to it because Pisces is so similar to Neptune, and also Jupiter is very comfortable with Pisces. It's in astrology, we talk about signs ruling planets, or is it planets ruling signs? But anyway, planets and signs that are kind of more comfortable with each other. And yeah, the way I relate to the signs is from an embeddedness within the seasons of the Earth as the Earth rotates on uh, her axis, and so Pisces season is the moment that we're moving out of winter and we're really close to spring. Currently, the sun is in the sign Taurus, so we are at peak springtime in terms of the seasonal situation here in northern hemisphere. Um, but the planets Venus and Jupiter and Mars are all still in Pisces. And so there's this really dominant Piscean energy right now. At the same time, we've got this kind of peak springtime energy, which is just filled with life force and pleasure. It's like, oh, things are warming up. We can go out. We can enjoy the sunshine. That's peak spring. But Pisces a little not so warm. It's like that's when the ice starts to melt, and it's just like you start to feel like, oh, coming back to life. And there's this sense of, yeah, flowing waters starting to move. That's Pisces. But then Neptune is the flowing waters. Jupiter makes that bigger, and Venus brings a kind of pleasure to it. And later this week, the moon brings her kind of nurturing and caring and comforting qualities. And so, yes, what am I saying? There's a kind of doubling of energy here. Neptune in Pisces, and then Jupiter makes it even bigger, this quality of Neptunian flowing waters. And Jupiter is with it kind of rushing down the mountain. It's like maybe it's an early spring melt. It's like you can feel those days where all of a sudden it's super warm, maybe it gets cold again, but it's like you get these pulses of new life force flowing. And so I think I want to invite us all to tune into, yeah, how are you feeling pulses of new life force flowing? And at the same time, with peak springtime Taurus season, it's like you can feel really coming to life, but then this additional kind of Piscean, flowing, dreamy kind of energy. And so we're going to talk more about this momentarily. I'm going to have another sip of my tea and tune into the chat. Hello, Josh. Good morning. Good morning, Raven. Hello. Ah, happy to be here on this beautiful Saturday morning here in San Francisco. It's just went out on the porch for a minute, and the sun is shining, and you can just sense that it's going to be a little warmer than the forecast. I don't know if any of you pay attention to the phone app with the weather forecast, but it seems like they always forecast it as colder than it usually is. And I don't like that. I think they should be more accurate because I'd be going out more. Ah. Hello, June. How are you? All conjunct natal Chiron, opposite your moon, Uranus, Pluto. So you're getting Neptune opposite moon, Uranus, Pluto. Huge transit. And then right now, Jupiter is exactly conjunct Neptune. So that means you're getting Jupiter exactly opposite your moon, Uranus, and Pluto, all at the same time, conjunct your Chiron. And yeah, so this week, though, you're getting the additional triggers of the moon and Venus going across it. Venus is already there. Moon is coming around the corner. Yeah. How's that going, Josh? That's some big energy. Oh. Okay. Got the chart up here. Might as well remind myself of what's going on. So much Pisces energy. Mars, Venus, Neptune, Jupiter, all in Pisces. So part of this week is a real deep meditation on Pisces. And the fact that it has so much in common with Neptune can kind of help us tune into it. But Neptune is not necessarily related to any particular season, you know? And so it's like we're going to be meditating on what is it to have a once in a century alignment like Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, really tight. And by the way Venus is lined up on the ecliptic right now, when she's exactly conjunct Jupiter, which we're talking about just a couple days away here, it's on the Venus gate. We got to talk about the Venus gate. We've been tuning in a lot on this channel to the monthly Moon-Venus conjunctions that a lot of astrologers call the Venus gates or the rose gates, and you get a series of 7 of them that happen in the morning, and then Venus is not visible for a couple of months, and then she comes back and has 7 Moon Venus conjunctions in the evening sky, and then she disappears just for a couple weeks, and she comes back in the morning sky again. And there's something amazing about tuning into this cycle. I've been a professional astrologer for 25 years, a student of astrology more like 30 years, I think. And so I've been tuning into the sky and the lights of the sky for a real long time, and yet somehow I didn't put my focus on these beautiful Moon-Venus conjunctions that happen every month in terms of just how nourishing their beauty is. It's like we have an opportunity most of the time to see this really beautiful astronomical event. And so I've really been encouraging people that are following me and my channel to kind of make that an intention, to get out once a month to see it, weather permitting. And I feel like I've only been doing this for, wow, really intentionally a year now. I think longer without just making it a real clear intention every month. But over this last year that I've really been doing it, I feel like my astrology has just totally changed. I feel like, I mean, not like totally changed, but I mean, in terms of how my relationship with the sky, informs my everyday life. I think for a long time, my astrology was kind of more abstract, not fully embodied in terms of a direct relationship with the sky, an intentional, regular, direct relationship with both daytime sky, but especially the nighttime or morning sky. And it's like the more I've just made it a really strong intention each month, no matter what now, I'm not going to sleep in. If the weather's good enough, I'm going to get out there. And that commitment to the sky, I think, deepens the astrological practice, because when you commit to the sky, to go out and spend an hour or two once a month just really communing with the sky is aware of you being aware of them. And so it's like the sky falls in love with you specifically and then wants to enchant your life with more and more magic. I feel like that's true. And I feel like when you think about the meaning of a Moon-Venus conjunction, what the experience of just observing one, it's always a crescent moon, and with the beautiful light of Venus, the second brightest light of the nighttime sky. The brightest is the moon, and then Venus, and then Jupiter. And by the way, that means the 3 brightest lights in the sky will be in a very precise triple conjunction. Wednesday morning, get up an hour and a half before sunrise if you really want to enjoy it for 30 minutes at peak brightness. That's what you need to do. I'm not sure if I said this exactly earlier, but I meant to. The way Venus and Jupiter are going to come into an exact conjunction on Wednesday morning is going to be very exact. Like they're going to look very close to each other in the sky. That's not always the case because Venus can be off the ecliptic some. Well, both of them could be at different parts. They can be close to the same plane, but off a bit, up to 5 degrees. And so sometimes there's a conjunction, but they don't look like actually physically close to each other in the sky, at least as much as they could, like the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction back in 2020, how exact that was. It got so close. It was so amazing. That's going to be happening with Venus and Jupiter here, and I am just super excited to experience that. Yeah, yeah. Pausing for tea. All catalyzed by an Insta live you held in May 2020. Yes, Josh, I remember that very well. It was exactly 2 years ago. Oh. Okay, to tie some threads together. Hmm. I was talking about the Venus Jupiter being exact. And then before that, I was talking about all the Pisces energy. Oh, and the Jupiter Venus big heartedness and this big love force, this moment of forgiveness. It's a moment of compassion. That's what I was talking about. The Moon Venus conjunction and what it feels like when you look at them because they're so beautiful. The crescent moon, there's something about a crescent moon that's just super comforting. I don't know about you, but when I look at a crescent moon, yeah, it's just like, just opens my heart. The full moon does as well, but it's just like so potent, it just kind of hits your eyeballs in a big way. But when she's on the horizon in her crescent form, yeah, it's like the mother's embrace, isn't it? The crescent is like the arms reaching out to us. And then at the same time, to have Venus, um, so beautiful, so bright, like the contrast between the brilliant brightness of Venus and the moon in her crescent phase, where she's a little, her light is not as strong as peak brightness at the full moon, right? And so, yeah, they kind of balance each other. So there's something super, yeah, I don't know. It just, it hits the animal body in a way that kind of, I don't know, brings us back into alignment with the solar system. I don't know exactly why, but my point has been focusing on this every month has, yeah, brought me back into my body more, brought me back into a more direct contact with the sky, and that's just transformed how my experience of astrology, and by that I just mean the way I reflect on the planets and try to reach out to them for guidance, is coming more from a direct experience as opposed to a kind of abstracted way of encountering them, like where you are kind of basing your understanding of, say, the meaning of Venus or the moon in terms of what the tradition of astrology says, or books that you've read, or lectures that you've heard. Those are all really helpful. They are all different forms of intimacy with the sky, the planets in the sky, but it's like one step removed. And when you're out just actually being with an alignment, it yeah, it's more about being in nature, more about being in a on a planet, and kind of experiencing planetary scale consciousness, and so again, I really encourage you all to have the experience of a committed, regular relationship with the sky. You commit to the sky, and the sky really commits to you. And whatever your experience of the sky is, I feel like there's a kind of consciousness experience when you're actually looking at a planet and gazing upon it and inquiring, like, hey, Venus, tell me more about yourself. I just really want to look at you and listen to you and experience whatever you want to share with me. Thank you. There's something about Venus is delighted by that. Venus wants to reach out to you and touch you. And it's like this week it's like a party for Venus. We're throwing a party for Venus, or rather, Venus is throwing a party for us. If you can find it, there's a party that Venus is throwing for you this week. And so that's what I want you to tune into. The outer party, the outer celebration of love, but also there's a quieter form of this, a more internal form of contact with this beautiful Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune quadruple conjunction, all in Pisces. Pisces gives a kind of meditative quality. It's like those melting waters of springtime. It's like it melts the armoring of the psyche. Like during winter, we tighten up, we tough it out, and then once the ice starts to melt, you get a few of those warm days, and the flowers start to bloom a little. That's when the armoring starts to melt. You soften, and you actually want to go to sleep because your body isn't in that kind of trauma mode, and you just want to drift off and let your body heal, you know? And so there's something about this alignment that's really paradoxical, where it's on the one hand very heart opening, and it can be social, and it can be about going out into the world and experiencing its glorious beauty. But at the same time, it's more dreamy and internal. I'd love to hear in the comments what your experience has been, because we're in it. We are in the exact Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces, and it's just like this big wave of dreamy, flowing, enchanted energy. How have you been with it? It's been getting super potent over the last 2 months, but this last month we've just experienced. Just tune in to the last 4 weeks and let me know down below. Let me know down below what your experience has been of dream time. Let's talk about Jupiter Neptune as dream time and how that could be challenging if you're working a hardcore 9 to 5, or you're in some kind of situation where you don't have as much freedom. You are obligated to show up and say work or be responsible in some other way, when this energy is all about melting and dreaming and surrendering, like kind of letting go of this dimension and wanting to go explore further into the outer reaches of consciousness. And so when you want to do that, and at the same time you got to make the banana bread, that can be challenging. And so we're going to have to be very intentional about catching this wave. We have to be intentional about it because it needs to be honored. We need to give space in our lives to this very rare alignment. And I know it's harder for some people than others. It's definitely a lot harder for a lot of people than others. And yet still, it's like there's this opportunity all year, and especially this next week and all of this coming week and all the following week, we got a kind of peak waveform of yummy, dreamy pleasure energy, pleasure waves that are available to all of us. And so at the very minimum, I want you all to promise me now, and you can commit below in the box, make a commitment to me, to whoever's out there reading this or looking to it. I want you to commit to me right now. Maybe you want to pause and go internal. Say it yourself or out loud. I commit to some dreamy, enjoyable time in nature. How about that? Let's just start there. I am committing this week to a little more time than maybe I usually would spend in nature, in a kind of pleasurable dream state or prayer state. And you know what? I'm actually talking about doing that this Wednesday morning. I've been talking about encouraging you all to get up an hour and a half before sunrise and get out there to a beautiful spot in nature where you can see the eastern horizon clearly, and there before you will be this very rare alignment. And I hope you'll take photos and share them so that I can see them. I'm still trying to figure out how can I see photos of people on my channel. I feel like it's going to require an additional technology, and so I'm not quite sure how to do that, but I would really love to be able to share photos of the sky with each other. And I know there's Discord, and I'm hesitant to do it. I think the best place would be Instagram. And so I'm going to talk about that another time. Maybe we can figure that out. So yes, this opportunity to spend a little more time in nature, in a dream state, in a dreamy spiritual state, in a prayer state. And so if you get up an hour and a half before sunrise, and okay, even if it's an hour before sunrise, you get out there, you're going to see this beautiful astronomical event. And you want to find a nice place to sit down, and maybe you got to bring layers so you're warm enough. Have your tea, maybe have binoculars, that makes it awesome, and just sit. Maybe even bring a bell or a rattle or a notebook or tarot cards, and just reflect. Just sit there with the sky for an hour and see what happens. And oh, by the way, this alignment happens to be excellent for expanded states of consciousness. And so if you have a little cannabis laying around, or there's other ways you want to maybe do yoga for an hour before you go out to the sky, the likelihood that Jupiter and Neptune would invite you into an expanded state of hopeful possibilities. Jupiter-Neptune has a lot to do with hopeful possibilities. It's the ultimate alignment of positive, hopeful visions of the future. And so another thing that I'm really encouraging people to tune into under this alignment is, what's your big vision for your life over, say, the next 12, 13 years? I'd like us all to tune into that right now, and maybe leave a comment below about how recently maybe you felt a kind of energy taking you to this large visionary state where you can see a vision forward for positive possibilities in your life. And so I'm suggesting that there is that opportunity right now to catch a wave that kind of expands your consciousness, and you see some positive timelines out there that maybe you hadn't considered. And so this week, especially the 25th, 6th, and 7th, but peaking on the 26th. Do I have that right? Yes. Here it is on the screen. You can see this is, let me just go a couple hours back here. So here's 4:48 a.m. Wednesday morning, the 26th, here in San Francisco. Look at that. Look at that alignment on the horizon there. Do you see all those Pisces planets? That's Mars, Moon, Venus, Neptune, and Jupiter. Jupiter rising here at 4:48, approximately. And so, yeah, if you can get up that early, fantastic, but we're only needing to get up an hour before sunrise. And so what's that? It's like an hour later, 5:40. Well, let's go a little bit further. I mean, this is sunrise here, 6:30. So I would say get out there by 5:15. Ideally, that gives you more time. 5:30 is still excellent. You're going to still see them at peak brightness, but only very briefly. And so, yes. Look at that stellium in Pisces, though. Look at that. So if you get up 5 a.m.-ish, you'd get to see Jupiter rising. And before that, you'd see Mars and the Moon and Venus. And yeah, those three would already be up in the sky. And Jupiter would follow around 5 a.m. And so, yes, get out there and pray. Get out there and pray. Extend yourself up to the sky, knowing that this is filled with positive energy, positive healing energies. I talk about this as being the yearly Heart Chakra Portal. We've been following the Heart Chakra Portal here on this channel back since 2019. So we've done what? 2019, 20, 21. This is our fourth Heart Chakra Portal entry since 2019. And so we're good at this one. We're good at this one, and you're well practiced. And this particular one has Jupiter involved. That's the very rare thing. It only happens every 13 years that Jupiter would be joining Neptune and Venus. That's the specific heart chakra energy, the Venus-Neptune conjunction. Venus being love and pleasure and beauty, and Neptune melting and dissolving and softening and bringing flow and the kind of spiritual inspiration that Neptune brings. That is what opens the heart and gives that really special quality of heart chakra consciousness. You know how it feels. It's when you're just feeling more loving, more forgiving, and you're more in a place of, just contact with some kind of loving force that's guiding you in your life, and also where you feel connected to soulful love relationships. If you got any soul friends, and I'm sure you got a few of them, reaching out to those beings, whether they're human or beloved animal allies, I would say this is a beautiful week for connecting on a spiritual level with the ones you love. Connecting on a spiritual level with the ones you love. And Jupiter makes it bigger, grander, more joyous. And so take some extra time this week to reach out to your lovers, the ones you love the most, and make contact with them. I think ideally, if you can physically, to see the ones you love the most physically is ideal, because this energy will kind of uplift you to a kind of transcendent level of intimacy, while at the same time being with the person keeps it grounded, keeps it real, which is really important with Jupiter Neptune, because it can be so dreamy. It can be so dreamy that it's not quite grounded or practical or integrated into a life of limitations well, And so kind of too much visionary energy that's not brought down into a kind of grounded, integrated form. And so having that intention this season to stay grounded, to be connected to other beings so that you can feel grounded in the intimacy, and to have some structures in your life that are manageable, because structures, responsibilities help us kind of keep us from being called out to sea by the sirens that enchant us and call us to paradise islands, but meanwhile we're not going to work. You know what I'm saying? And so yes, that's a little bit about the shadow. It's also important, I think, if you're experiencing low energy, something about lower energy, I think, where you're not honoring Neptune enough. It's like if you're feeling a sense of low energy that, say, you're maybe frustrated by, that's kind of Neptune saying, hey, I think it's time to relax, baby. I think it's time to let it flow, baby. Don't be so tight. Don't be so wound up. Don't be so in your structures that you can't call in and take a mental health day. You know what I'm saying? Wednesday morning would be an excellent mental health day. That's what I am encouraging you all to do if you got them. If you don't have mental health days, well, I'm sorry. That's a lot of people out there. Okie dokes. Let's see. A little more tea. I think I got a shake and rattle. Hey everybody, I just found what I was looking for. I couldn't find this earlier. This is called black tourmaline, everybody. Whew. Oh, very helpful stone for a week like this, where that kind of dreamy energy can take you off. But tourmaline's like, I don't know if you can see this. It's no ordinary black stone. It is really, I don't know, dense and potent, but it's definitely about grounding, but not any ordinary grounding. It's like deep, profound, into the depths of the earth type grounding that black tourmaline kind of brings. That's been my feeling ever since I held the first hunk of it. You know, big piece like this is ideal. Hmm. This smoky quartz. Love this piece. Smoky quartz with black tourmaline on the back. Very helpful. Very helpful. I want to pull a few cards, everybody. Just take a moment. I'm reading some good stuff in the chat here. Raven, committing to some dreamy, enjoyable time in nature and prayer, meditation. Raven, I saw this alignment starting today. You saw it in the sky. All but Mercury were on the east side of the sun. Yes, the eastern horizon, exactly. Yeah, I haven't gotten out yet. I have to admit, it's been cold here in San Francisco. That's been my excuse. I am totally committed to get up Wednesday. I mean, definitely going to go out Tuesday and Wednesday. That's my intention. I'd love to be able to go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because like Raven is pointing out here, it's already glorious in the morning. I just haven't made it out there. Yes. Oh yeah, cards. What do I want to pull here? I got this incredible new deck. I just got to promote it for a moment. It's an incredible new deck called the Black Deck. And the artist, the creator of it, I believe his name is Richard Black, Rick Black, I think. He's over in Oakland here. And my girlfriend showed me the deck. And yes, I fell in love with it immediately. And now I have my own. She gave me a deck. Marinello, my girlfriend, my beloved. Yes, this is definitely a time for opening your heart and letting love in. Letting love in. And my beloved gave me this amazing deck. And I just got to show you a few of these cards that I chose today. Look at this. Look at this beautiful card. Black deck. It's a boutique deck. That means it's expensive. You got to get it through Instagram Live. I think it's the best, or Instagram is the best way to contact Rich Black. The Two of Swords. Isn't that amazing? The Two of Swords is often about a kind of internal reflection. It's where, I mean, I love the way it's done here. It's like she's seated in a protective space and kind of internal and in a kind of guarded, protected internal place where she can consider things carefully. You can see that she's got two doors, at least two major timelines that she's considering. And this is a moment where you get to choose the higher timeline, the more hopeful timeline, you know what I'm saying? That's what we're aiming for, and it's really good during Jupiter-Neptune dream time, Jupiter-Neptune Pisces, which, by the way, that alignment, Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces, only happens every 160 years, everybody. So there's another way where we can think about this alignment as a, once in a 160-year event where you're also getting Venus there, and for a day, the moon there. But I want to say, even though it's just one day, it's such a strong alignment that it's like a whole month. Like I feel like it's this past week, this coming week, and the following week, at least 3 weeks, 4 weeks, that this energy is coming in. We're catching the wave, and we're opening to the gifts that it has for us. I believe there are gifts for all of us this week. Is anybody open to a gift coming their way this week? Well, it's behind one of these doors. One of these doors is where that amazing gift is. Oh, do you see? This one has the moon on her dress. I didn't even notice that really till just now. That's why tarot is so amazing. What a perfect card. I feel like this is a perfect card for what we're talking about. The Venus gate this Wednesday morning. It's here on the chart. This Venus gate, which is conjunct Jupiter. It's the part of the Venus gate, 7-gate system where you can see the chakras laid across the different Moon-Venus conjunctions. This is the Heart Chakra Venus gate of those 7. So it's the Heart Chakra alignment in the Heart Chakra placement of the Moon-Venus Venus gate series. We're in the 4th of 7, and that's right in the middle. And so we're at that kind of Heart Chakra place in the sequence of the morning sky Venus gates. And it's very much a point like this. It's a point of balance. We're halfway through a process. And the Moon-Venus gate process is about opening our hearts and learning to be more kind, learning to be more sweet with each other. In some way, these two doors here, it's like the choice where we close the heart and the choice or the timeline, the path where we kind of open our heart and we become available to forgiveness. We become available to more compassion. And so every month when we go out and hang with the Venus gate, it's an intention to open our hearts and to be kinder to ourselves and to others. And it's just that this particular one that's happening in the springtime, it's a morning springtime Venus gate. It's not always a morning Venus gate that happens in spring. It can happen in winter or summer. And so there's a special quality to this midpoint in this Moon-Venus series. I think it is very much an energy like this, where we're kind of seated in a place of balance, open-hearted, available to expanding our hearts even more towards ourselves, towards others, letting in more love, expanding our heart to receive love, not just give it. But there's an opportunity this week to surrender to and receive more love, whether that's through direct contact with your higher self, the divine, spirit guides, animal allies, whatever it might be, ancestors, guardian angels and whatnot. This is a great week to let that love in. Your best friends, your closest family connections, your beloved, just letting that energy come in, allowing in more love. A lot of us have a hard time really letting love in. We can let a little bit in, but it's a little harder for whatever reason. We're armored, or life has toughened us. We've forgotten how lovable and attractive we are, And so this is the kind of week where you set the intention to let a little more love into your life. And you can do that, everybody, through choosing the door on which is it? I don't know. Not quite sure myself. Does anybody else out there feel like you're at an important timeline juncture where you take the door on the left and it leads very definitively towards exactly where you thought you were going? And the door on the right is an unpredictable door where you take the risk of opening your heart a little bit more than you have before. Please hit the like button out there, everybody. Helps me out. More people get to see it, you know? More people get to feel the love if you hit the like button. More people get to feel the love if you hit the like button. And subscribe if you're new. This is the Starship Love, and I'm your captain. Yep, Captain Stelzner here, taking you on the love boat. Okay. I don't know, did I say it? Did we do it? Not sure. Did we do it? I only showed one card. What other, see, this, what's amazing, this is the Two of Swords. And then I also got the Ace of Swords just before we started. The Ace of Swords and the Two of Swords. Now, paradoxically, there's two swords here, but they lead to one sword. You know? I don't know how that makes sense, but there's two that lead to one. Like, this is the decisive intention of heading towards a particular timeline that's more hopeful, more open-hearted. You know what I'm saying? Where you just go for it. You take the risk of expanding your heart and feeling what it is to let in a little more love than you usually do. A little more pleasure. This is a week for indulging in some chocolate if you don't eat it regularly. And if you do, I don't think it's a week where you double the dosage of chocolate, because that could be overdoing it, if you're like me. But if it's not going to be chocolate, then you got to let in the yummy sweetness in some other way. There's a lot of other ways to let in the yummy sweetness of the dessert experience and the vacation experience and the full buffet experience of life, you know, where you really see it. You see all the delights and pleasures you've been missing behind the other door. You realize in your expanded state of consciousness that there was more pleasurable possibilities than you realized. And so take the time you need in a protective space to tune in to how you could have more pleasure than you realized. That's the meditation I feel. Is that it? No. It's not it. There's a couple more of these amazing cards from the Black deck. Everybody, check them out on Instagram. That's the best way to find them. The Black deck. You'll find it. Okay? Look who this is. I also got this character. The Son of Swords, everybody. The Son of Swords. There's a son, there's a daughter in this deck. In other decks, it's like King, Queen, Page, Knight. I like how Black is doing it. Son, daughter, yes. And so the Son of Swords, this is a master of swords. Mastery. Like first, what you do is you open the door, the right door, to more pleasure and love and encounters with angels. Because Jupiter, Venus, Neptune. If there was ever a week where you were likely to feel like really embraced by an angel or an angelic being or a human, animal, or tree that's channeling that energy, if you know what I'm saying. If there was ever a week where you were more likely to be convinced of the reality of angels, you would find it through one of these doors. Just one of them. You're not going to feel it as much. The angels will still be there, but you may not feel them. And so you get through the right door and you're just like leading the charge into life with total intentionality. See that person back there with their staff of decisiveness? You see that one? They've come out of the water, they got that sword, and they are charging towards their intention. You know, the intention for a more positive timeline experience where you upgrade it through forgiveness and expanded love, where you let your love force get bigger, where you get surprised because you're like, I thought I only had this much love to share, but actually it's a lot bigger, the love that I get to share. And so, yes, that's what I'm talking about. You lead the charge into your life, and then you become a master. You see this? Mastery? Mastery. The mastery of knowing exactly what to do at any given time to jump onto a more positive timeline where you're friendlier to yourself and others, and where, yeah, you choose the pleasure line instead of the armored winter timeline where you stay cold. You know what I'm saying? You loosen up a little bit. You realize that life could be more enjoyable, that there actually is a good life. The Jupiter-Venus conjunction points every year or so. There are moments where you realize that you can live the good life, at least a better life, you know? And so, yes, that's what this person knows how to do, live a better life. And this is the week where you open the right door and you hop onto that happier timeline. Can you feel it? Is there a big choice that you have to make this week where it's like, things could be a lot more pleasurable through the one door, or through the other door, it's like, might be not as fun. And so I'll end on this note. Not only did we get today in the beautiful, incredible masterpiece that the Black Deck is, not only did we get this one, but this one too. The Two of Wands. See how different those are? The right door leads to this energy where the sun is shining, you know, where it's a little bit brighter than you thought it was. And yeah, you're heading down the road and you're feeling bad and you're heading towards warmer weather. That's what I think this is. You see, one path, this is the good door, right? But then through the door is another timeline juncture. Even on the good, more positive timeline, there's always junctures like every day. Unfortunately, we got to keep making the same decisions to follow forgiveness and grace and angels. Are you going to pursue angels, or are you going to go, you see here, there's a city in the background. There's a city in the background. In the other direction, there's more nature, more trees, more fun, more life force. And yes, what are you going to choose? Choose well, my friends. Choose well. This has been your captain speaking. I wish you all a beautiful week filled with so much pleasure and so much love, and hopefully time out in the sunshine by a beautiful body of water. That would be ideal. So that would be another intention besides getting up early. That's one thing to do this week, but also get out at peak warmth, peak sunshine to experience the pleasures of the good life. How are you going to do that this week? You promise me you're going to do it? Do you commit inside, outside, and to another person? That's how they do it in the 12 steps. You say it to yourself, to a higher power, and to one other human being. Say that out loud. I commit to the good life. I commit to more pleasure, more love, more chocolate, everybody. Okay. Blessings, love, light. Be well. Okie dokes. Thanks everybody for watching. It's been fun. I'm going to close it up now. If anybody has any questions or comments, otherwise I'm going to say good day. I'm going to get outside in the sun myself. June, 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 you're in Hawaii. You're in Hawaii. You got it made. This is your week. Telling you, this could be a real good week. The whales there? Are the whales happening? No, I think it's over. No, they're still there. They're still there, right? Okie dokes. Blessings, love, forever.